I'm standing in our kitchen, staring at his phone on the counter. It's vibrating. Again. The screen lights up with a name I don't recognize. M. My hands are shaking because I know what I'm about to do. 7 years of marriage, and I've never touched David's phone, not once. He made that clear on our wedding night, laughing it off as a joke, but his eyes weren't laughing. Privacy is sacred, he said. Trust means not needing to check. I believed him. God, I believed every word. But this morning, he left it behind. He never leaves it behind. He takes it to the bathroom. He sleeps with it face down on his nightstand. He carries it in his pocket, even when he's just walking to the mailbox. The phone buzzes again. Another message from M. My finger hovers over the screen. One swipe. That's all it would take. Just one swipe to shatter everything, or prove I'm the paranoid wife he sometimes jokes about when his friends come over. I pick it up. The weight feels wrong in my hand, like I'm holding evidence of a crime I haven't witnessed yet. My thumb moves across the screen. It unlocks. He changed the passcode to my birthday last week. I thought it was romantic. Now I think it was guilt. The messages load. I see her name at the top. The timestamp says 5 minutes ago. My vision blurs. I read the first line and my knees buckle. I grab the counter to stay standing because the floor feels like it's disappearing beneath me. This isn't what I expected. This is so much worse. 8 years ago, I met David at a coffee shop in the rain. He was sitting alone, reading a book with a broken spine. And when I walked past his table, he looked up and smiled like he'd been waiting for me his entire life. You're soaked, he said. It's pouring outside. I know. That's why I'm here. He pulled out the chair across from him. Sit. I'll buy you something warm. I should have said no. I was late for work. But something about his voice made me stay. He bought me chai. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about his childhood in foster care, how he aged out of the system at 18 with nothing but a duffel bag and a bus ticket, how he built himself from nothing, how he never had a real family. He wanted that, he said, looking at me with eyes so earnest I felt them in my chest. I want someone to come home to, someone who stays. I fell in love with him that day. Maybe I fell in love with the idea of saving him, of being the family he never had. We married 6 months later, small ceremony, just us and 2 witnesses from the courthouse. He said he didn't have anyone to invite, no parents, no siblings, no childhood friends. I didn't push. I thought I was being understanding. He worked long hours at a tech company downtown. I taught 2nd grade. We bought a small house with a blue door and a garden I tried to keep alive. Neighbors called us the perfect couple. We held hands at the grocery store. He kissed my forehead every morning before work. He never raised his voice, but he never let me touch his phone. It started small, little moments that didn't add up. Like the time I borrowed his laptop and saw a folder named Work, Do Not Open. I didn't open it. I trusted him. But I noticed the way he snapped the laptop shut when I walked into the room later that day. Or the weekend trip he took for a conference in another state. He came back with no photos, no stories, just exhaustion in his eyes and a kiss on my cheek. How was it? I asked. Boring, meetings all day. Did you meet anyone interesting? He paused. Just for a second. No, just work people. I let it go. But the pause stayed with me. Then there were the nights he stayed up late, sitting in the dark living room with his phone glowing blue on his face. I'd wake up at 2 in the morning and find him there, typing fast, then deleting, then typing again. Can't sleep? I'd ask. Work stuff, he'd say, locking the screen. Go back to bed. I started watching him. Not on purpose. I just noticed things. The way he angled his body away from me when he texted. The way he'd leave the room to take certain calls. The way he flinched when I walked up behind him. Who's M? I asked one night after seeing the name flash across his screen. His face didn't change. A coworker. Coworker from where? The marketing team. Why? Just curious. He smiled. You don't need to be curious, babe. You've got all of me. But I didn't. I had pieces, fragments, the parts he decided to show me. The messages from M came more often. I started counting, 3 times a day. 5, 10, always at strange hours, always making him smile in a way that felt like a secret I wasn't part of. I tried asking again, who's M, really? I told you, a coworker. You text a coworker at midnight? His jaw tightened. She's working on a project with me. It's the deadline season. She? Yes, she. Does that bother you? It did. God, it did. But I didn't want to be that wife, the jealous one, the insecure one. So I swallowed the questions and smiled. No, I trust you. He kissed me. Good, because there's nothing to worry about. But worry lived in my chest now, heavy and constant. I started imagining her. M. Was she younger? Prettier? Did she laugh at his jokes the way I used to? Did she know about me? I hated myself for thinking this way, but I couldn't stop. One night, I woke up and he wasn't in bed. I found him in the garage, sitting in his car with the interior light on, phone pressed to his ear. He was crying. I'd never seen him cry. I knocked on the window. He jumped, wiped his face, and ended the call. What's wrong? I asked when he got out. Nothing. David, you were crying. I'm fine, just stressed. About what? Work, money, life. He walked past me into the house. Can we not do this right now? I stood in the garage alone, feeling the gap between us widen. I started checking his pockets when he was in the shower. I know how that sounds, I know, but I was drowning in questions and he wouldn't give me answers. I found receipts, dinner at expensive restaurants I'd never been to, flowers from a shop across town, a hotel key card. Why do you have this? I asked, holding up the key card. A hotel? The conference, remember? They gave us key cards. That was 3 months ago. He took the card from my hand. I forgot to throw it away. Why are you going through my stuff? Why do you have secrets? Everyone has secrets. Not from their wife. He stared at me for a long moment. You really want to know everything? Yes. No, you don't. Trust me. That's when I knew. Whatever he was hiding, it wasn't just an affair. It was bigger, darker, something that would change everything. That morning, the morning he left his phone behind, I decided I couldn't live like this anymore. Not knowing was killing me slower than the truth ever could. So I unlocked his phone, I opened the messages from M, and I read. The first message said, "She knows something's wrong. What do we do?" David's response, "I'll handle it. Just give me more time." M, you've had 7 years. When are you going to tell her? David, soon, I promise. M, she deserves to know. They all do. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. They all do? Who else was there? I scrolled up. Months of messages. Years maybe. But they weren't love letters. They were logistics, plans, coordinates, names I didn't recognize. And then I saw it. A photo. Sent 2 weeks ago. A group of people standing in front of a house I'd never seen. David was in the middle, smiling wider than I'd ever seen him smile at home. And around him were 5 other people, different ages, different faces. But all of them had his eyes. The caption underneath said, "Family reunion finally." He came home at noon. He saw his phone in my hand and froze. Who are they? I asked. Who's who? Don't lie to me anymore. Who are the people in the photo? His face went pale. He sat down at the kitchen table and put his head in his hands. I was going to tell you. Tell me what? I have siblings." The words hung in the air like smoke. "What?" "3 brothers, 2 sisters. We were separated when we were kids, sent to different foster homes across the country. I've been looking for them for 10 years. I found them 2 years ago." My mind was spinning. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't know how," his voice cracked. "I built my whole identity around being alone, the guy with no family, the guy who survived on his own. And then I found them, and everything I told myself about who I was, it was a lie. So you lied to me instead?" I didn't know how to explain it, how to tell you I had this whole other life I was building without you. "Without me?" The words tasted bitter. "I'm your wife. I know. And I was scared you'd feel betrayed or replaced. They want to meet you. That's my sister Michelle. She's been asking to meet you for months." "Your sister?" "Yes." I sat down across from him. "What else haven't you told me?" He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "Nothing. I swear, this is it." Over the next 3 days, he told me everything. How he hired a private investigator, how he tracked down each sibling one by one, how they started meeting in secret because he wasn't ready to disrupt the life we'd built. "I thought I could keep both worlds separate," he said. "Our quiet life here, and them. But it didn't work. They want to be part of my life, and I want them in it. So why hide it?" Because I was ashamed. Of what? Of needing them, of not being the strong, independent man you married, of having baggage I never told you about. I wanted to be angry. I should have been furious. But all I felt was sadness. For him, for us, for the years we spent pretending we were enough for each other, when we were both carrying weight we never shared. "You should have trusted me," I said. "I know. I would have understood." "Would you?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know if I would have. I fell in love with the man who had nothing. Would I have fallen for the man who had everything he'd been searching for? 2 weeks later, we drove 3 hours to Michelle's house. My stomach was in knots. I didn't know what to expect. What if they didn't like me? What if I didn't fit into this family he'd been building without me? But when Michelle opened the door, she hugged me like I was already part of them. "Finally," she said, pulling back to look at me. "He talks about you constantly." "He does?" "All the time. You're his person. We just wanted to be part of that." The house was full of people, his brothers and sisters, their partners, their kids. It was loud and chaotic and overwhelming. David held my hand the entire time, like he was afraid I'd disappear. They told stories about their childhood, the good memories before they were separated, the birthdays they tried to celebrate alone, the promises they made to find each other someday. And David kept his promise to family, the one we lost and the one we found. Everyone cheered. I looked at David. He was crying again, but this time he wasn't hiding it. We drove home in silence, not the heavy, suffocating kind, the peaceful kind, the kind that comes after a storm. He said when we pulled into our driveway, "I'm sorry. I know. He should have told me from the beginning." "Yes, you should have." "Can you forgive me?" I thought about it, about the lies, the secrets, the nights I spent wondering if I was enough. But I also thought about the man sitting next to me, the man who spent 10 years searching for pieces of himself, the man who was so afraid of losing me that he hid the most important part of his life. "Yes," I said, "but no more secrets. No more secrets. And I want you to know your passcode." He smiled. "You already have it. I want you to stop hiding your phone. Deal." That night, he left his phone on the counter, screen up, unlocked. And I didn't touch it. I didn't need to anymore. Because the secret wasn't an affair. It wasn't betrayal. It was love. Messy, complicated, terrifying love. The kind that makes you hide parts of yourself because you're afraid of being too much or not enough. And maybe that's what marriage is. Not 2 people with no secrets, but 2 people who trust each other enough to share the ones that matter. His phone buzzed. A message from Michelle. "When are you 2 coming over again? The kids miss you." David looked at me. "What do you think?" I think we have a family reunion to plan. He pulled me close and kissed my forehead, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The phone stayed unlocked, and so did we.